Ever since the introduction of the iPhone 4, Apple's massively popular smartphone has faced an unpleasant and persistent plague. One, in the spirit of said plague, we'll call iGate. People were posting #BendGate on Twitter with photos of actual bent phones and saying, "Mine bends too," and taking their hands and literally bending this device they just spent like $600 on. So I was interested in figuring out why people do this. I decided to sit down and talk to Georgia Dow. She's a psychotherapist and she's also a senior editor at iMore. I wanted her opinion and her thoughts on what is going on psychologically that kind of makes these things happen. So here is that interview.
I think that there's a lot of different reasons why Apple products in and of themselves create such a mass of anger and fury when things are not working as we had hoped them to work out. Their products, they charge a premium for it, and people are expecting them to work and to work effortlessly, and Apple products usually do. And so we end up with something which we call expectational debt, which if a product always works perfectly, the one little tiny hairline fracture is going to be exceptionally noticeable. We're also of this generation where we expect it all. We want the sun, the moon, the stars, multicolors, and that's wonderful, but you're not always going to get that. Fear sells. We are highly prone to limbic responses such as fear and anger. So if you make people angry enough or fearful enough, you are going to get a lot of attention, and that's also on Twitter for just regular people.
What the f are you putting it in your pants and sitting on it for?
It's an interesting phenomenon that then, the next person that's the loudest voice is going to get the most, replies, and someone that is more mediated or, within the means, they don't get noticed, and so you don't want to see that.
Rick, I'm speaking. The newspaper.
Everyone is constantly trying to be the one that gets the most attention. We're all climbing on top of each other to be the one the most seen, but then we become also highly polarized to one of the sides of an argument, which the closer you get to the edges, the less chance you have of looking at all of the angles, because now we're going to be fighting for sides. A long time ago, we lived in little tiny dynamic groups, and they were huge familial groups. So it was really important for us to say that we, us, and them. Us, we're the good guys, and we will see everything about us in a little bit more of a rosy light. And then them, we're the bad guys, and that would protect us against invading tribes. And because we form these tribal units of wanting to be part of a team, and this team is the best team, so that means that we are the best team. And so there's a sharing of ego strength. And yes, that goes all the way down to the technology, and actually quite strongly now, to the technology that we use. And so because we have no tribes really anymore, that feeling of belonging is really nice. And yes, you end up with dopamine and endorphins. Like, it feels nice to be liked. It's just like someone else saying, you know what? I like you, you're part of me. I always, when someone's really, really irate and really upset, or there's something that's very clickbait-ish, I always take it with a grain of salt for myself and let me look into this a little bit more to see if I should, before I get upset, because the stress of that is not good for you. And so it might be great for the news articles, which I understand why they're doing it, but for people that are using the phone, if you're not used to a technology and you're already scared of it, it can actually be damaging.